Johnny Somali, I heard you been friggin' round, bud, and I got a couple things to say to you, alright? So, before we jump into this drama, knuckles first. Hey, hi, hello, my name is Dan Frampton, and this is the Art of Slop. Around here, we make quick daily videos about trending topics on the internet. And if that sounds alright to you, likes and subs, let's go. Please subscribe today and allow me to be your bad boy cult leader. Okay, warriors, today's story is all about Johnny Somali. Do you remember this guy? We were talking about him, I don't know, like a couple months ago at this point. I'm not gonna go into every little thing about this guy. I'm gonna spare you all the nitty-gritty details, but I'll give you a little bit of a speed run, why not? This Johnny Somali guy that you see pulled up on the monitor right now, this guy's a bit of an IRL streamer, some would say. Others would call him a vlogger. Others would call him a travel channel for Zoomers. Me personally, I never really liked the guy. If there's a bad boy seal of approval, Jonathan Somalithan is definitely not getting it. So while this sorry sack of a content creator is out there making his little content, he goes to other countries, okay? He may have found himself in Japan one time. And what does he do when he's in Japan while he's IRL streaming? Well, he's just gonna go around to people and annoy them. He's gonna go around to people and say the most offensive stuff that he can. He's gonna try to pick fights. He's gonna play loud music in places where you shouldn't play loud music and that sort of thing. The whole country is gonna get mad at you. You're gonna have to face the public. You're gonna have to face the fire, and he did, but then he fled Japan. And where did he go after that? Korea. And while in Korea, he did a bunch of things that they considered crimes. In Korea, they have these statues all over the place that mean something to the people. They're basically these statues representing the women that were taken as pleasure slaves by the soldiers that came into their country to invade it, okay? And these were the very statues that Jonathan Somalithan went up and degraded. He basically twerked all over them, filmed it, put it out there for millions to see, and that was only one of his stunts in Korea. There is literally a laundry list of things this guy did. He had 3 charges that he had to face in court, and court happened today in Korea. And the YouTuber Atozi actually flew all the way to Korea to actually cover this story. So here he is, Atozi, outside the courtroom right now. He's gonna describe it a little bit for us because he has first-hand experience. He is the man on the ground. He has the boots in the field. Atozi, roll it.
Well, so the thing is, we just got out of the trial. It went absolutely terrible for Johnny because Johnny showed up more than an hour late with a MAGA hat on and a big bottle of water, and he was just screaming at essentially he got in trouble for, number 1, wearing the hat, and number 2, the bottle. So now there's 4 charges that was in that trial, correct?
There are 4 charges against him, but only 3 of them were addressed today.
So we're gonna cut that off there and hear more from this more official looking guy in a little bit, okay? We're gonna hear from Captain Haircut himself, because Captain Haircut is over here really breaking it down. And believe me, there are twists, there are turns in this story. Jonathan Somalithan gets hit with a little bit of a surprise, but let's break down what we know about it so far. Johnny Somali showed up 1 hour late to court wearing a MAGA hat because he was hungover. He was hungover because he was streaming the night before, just getting drunk and being braggadocious and being just an absolute menace to society. You know, just being Johnny Somali. And then he shows up to court. Atozi goes on to explain this, but I'm gonna paraphrase for him if that's okay. Johnny Somali apparently shows up to court, all smiles, all giggles. He's got the MAGA hat on, he's got the bottle of water. He gets read his charges, and immediately the smile disappears. The courtroom is packed. A lot of people flew out, a lot of people traveled to this courtroom in order to cover the Johnny Somali case. This Johnny Somali case actually made a whole bunch of YouTube channels a lot of money. And Johnny Somali 100% knew that that courtroom was going to be filled with his ops. And sure enough, they were. That twist in the story is going to come up right now when we hear from Captain Haircut. Roll it.
So we just wrapped up with the first day of trial for the Ramzi Khalid Ismail case, that is Johnny Somali. And what happened was he was over an hour late to his trial. It was packed, completely full courtroom. Almost everybody was there for him. And he came in with Hank. He was dressed in a white suit. Hank was in a black suit, very, ebony and ivory sort of thing they had going on there. He immediately looked at me directly, stuck his tongue out. He was wearing a MAGA hat. He was instructed twice to take it off. And bungled that absolutely hilariously multiple times. He proceeded to go to the stand in the wrong place and head forward. The key is to all of this that he was completely blindsided by both the procedure and the charges. I will get into that on a later video, but he pled guilty to all 3 of the original charges, that is the first obstruction and the 2 Minor Crimes Act violations. But the last obstruction, the new one that just came out this week, they had no idea about. His lawyer didn't know, he didn't know. So they have to schedule a whole new trial date 3 weeks from now just for him to plead guilty. And that won't be the end of the story for Ramzi. So I'll catch you guys all up later. Quick update, wanted to get that out to y'all. Take care, peace.
Johnny Somali got hit with another charge, blindsided by surprise while being sentenced for other charges with another charge. Isn't that brilliant? Isn't that poetic? And now he's got to drag his arse all the way back to the courtroom again on, when is it? April 9th, just to plead guilty again? It's incredible. And Warriors, what else is he gonna do other than plead guilty? This is just a pretty much open and shut case, isn't it? Johnny Somali just showing the most absolute amount of narcissism that a person can in this situation. He's going in there with bravado blazing, just thinking that, hey, none of this really matters. I'm just gonna get away with it. And even if I don't get away with it, I'm just gonna continuing on, or whatever. And then he thought it was going to be all done and he was going to learn what his future held for him. And it's so funny that he doesn't get that satisfaction today, just to turn around again and be like, yeah, guilty of another thing. But honestly, the funniest part of all this to me is Atozi, a YouTuber, traveling to Korea for Johnny Somali. Now I understand that there's like a huge amount of money that he made from this situation, and the situation is an ongoing story, and his audience wants updates or whatever, so it's fine, it's cool, modern day journalism on YouTube or whatever. But the way I see Atozi is just a really successful slop channel, and that's incredible. I love that. I'm a champion of slop channels. This is the art of slop, and Atozi is pretty much the king of the genre out here. He just churns out story after update of any little meaningless drama happening on the internet to these TikTokers, to these Twitch streamers and Kick streamers and all these other people out there. Atozi has his finger on the pulse of all that, and he has had that for a long time. This is the guy that showed up in an astronaut suit to Area 51. Remember when all that happened? That's Atozi. But now he's taken him and his whole slop operation over to Korea so he can best tell his audience about the story. Now that, my friends, is bad boy approved. Atozi is definitely in the bad boy's good graces. Exactly where you want to be. Just like all of you warriors. It's time to unite. It's time to mobilize and get Dan Frampton out of the YouTube doghouse. The YouTube algorithm thinks that I'm a cyber. They think all of this is to be withheld. It is to be suppressed. But you're here at the end of the video. That means you're in Endgang, and Endgang rules this roost. This wouldn't be possible without Endgang. And fortunately for me, the internet is filled with people to criticize. I'm a 1%er ripping in here on my American made just to tear all these whack-ass influencers, D-list celebrities, and internet train wrecks into oblivion. Thank you so much for being here. Likes and subs. Let's go. See you next time. Stay bad.